saying, Mark Milley said he's a fascist. This person said this. You raised the question of authenticity in your interview with her. And that was an authentic moment where she says, yeah, I do think he's a fascist. And I think that's why it had a reaction. Donald Trump, he, for whatever you think about him, if you like him, if you hate him, he is certainly who he is. He's showing us who he is every single day.
Yeah, which is a fascist. And it's crazy because you still don't have news networks having that conversation. Yeah. Like when somebody says, when somebody questions Kamala Harris's blackness or is he a DEI hire, y'all will have roundtable discussions about that, asking that question. How come you're not having roundtable discussions asking, is Donald Trump a fascist? Actually not even asking it, stating it. I mean, when you look at the things that he's talking about doing, jailing journalists, jailing his political opponents, turning the military on American citizens. The guy said he wanted to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. How come that is not the topic of discussion on networks like CNN every day?
But do you think that, you were raising this with Kamala Harris about her own authenticity, about her own willingness to just, say things that aren't crafted. Do you think she needs to do more of that? Trump's going to go. Trump's going to go. Apparently, Trump's is going to tape a thing with Joe Rogan. Do you think she should do that?
I think that she should keep calling Donald Trump a fascist. And I think that Americans need to keep looking at the rhetoric of Donald Trump, because I don't know why we're even thinking about electing somebody who's talking about putting people in camps. I don't know why why we want to elect somebody who's talking about mass deportation. I don't know why we're having this conversation about somebody who wants to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. Aren't we supposed to be a patriotic country? Whenever somebody like Colin Kaepernick takes a knee in this country, everybody talks about, oh, that's so unpatriotic. But a guy can say he wants to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election and nobody cares. Like even me bringing it up now, you brought it back to Kamala and Joe Rogan. Anderson?
Yeah.
Who gives a damn?
Well, I think you give a damn who's elected president. And I'm asking
if that president is a fascist. That's talking about putting people in camps.
Welcome back, guys. It's been a while that I haven't commented on those or the news lately. And we're going to see some those black operative, Charlamagne Tha God and Angela Rye, going after Anderson Cooper. Apparently, they're upset because Cooper dared to press Kamala Harris with questions that real voters actually care about. And the ones that demand straight answers. Cooper didn't just let her slide with broad scripted responses. He had her accountable. And that didn't sit well with some of on her side, especially the Democrats. I get it. Nobody likes to see tough questions thrown at your candidate. But when you're vying for the highest office, you've got to be able to handle a bit of heat. The truth is, Cooper's he was just doing his job, giving voice to the concerns of voters who are tired of rehearsed talking points. If Kamala wanted to connect with people struggling to pay bills, concerned about border security, or watching grocery prices rise, she needs to engage with those reality directly. But that's not what she's doing. She's giving people just word salad every day, every question, repeatedly. Every time they ask the same question, it's word salad. She can't answer the question straightforward. I don't know. And Kamala Harris has faced criticism for vague answers on healthcare and energy policies, issue that resonate in battleground state. According to a recent poll, over 60% of Americans are worried about inflation and the economy. Avoiding specific won't really help those voters. In fact, it might alienate them. People want real solutions, not just slogans. I was born in a middle-class family. I love what is it called? Small business owners. Hard work is good work. Come on. We're tired of it. So instead of piling on Cooper, maybe it's time to focus on giving real actionable responses to the questions that hit home The voters aren't looking for a performance. They're looking for a plan. And hey, let's see if the same energy comes out when Trump is on the hot seat. He's going to be doing Joe Rogan today. So hopefully, I'm fair. I think Joe Rogan should press him too in certain questions and to see where he stands, you know? But let's keep getting more information from this clip right here. You got me really like rolling on the floor.
Talking about, once again, terminating the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. That's talking about, jailing his political opponents. Like, that rhetoric doesn't scare people?
Well, we talk about this every single. This is what
I don't think
I've been
y'all
talking about
it
this
enough.
every night.
I don't think y'all have enough conversations about it. I feel like I heard more on this network about is Kamala Harris black than I do about, Donald Trump being a fascist.
Well,
am I wrong, Angela?
Honestly, that's bullshit. I'm sorry.
Oh, I like that.
That's no,
Go
that
ahead,
is
Anderson.
no.
That's totally bullshit. That's totally bullshit. Just like Anderson Cooper said, it is bullshit. Who is even like allowed to speak about Kamala Harris like blackness? On the news network, on the mainstream media, nobody's even trying to do that. We even have real stories in regard to Doug Emhoff, Kamala's husband, who was accused of slapping his girlfriend back in 2012. The story has been corroborated, but no mainstream media has picked up that story. Nobody is attempting or at least even report on it. Why? Because it's going to damage her. But they're protecting her any way, any form they can. And sitting here, Charlamagne Tha God, saying that they spend their time on speaking against Kamala Harris' blackness. It's bullshit. The mainstream media spend the whole life. It's been 8 years. The talk about how Trump is bad, how Trump is Hitler, how Trump is a fascist, how Trump is a danger, how Trump is a threat to democracy. Every day we hear it, every day. And to be honest, I think like that's kind of like got people incentivized about it. They heard it multiple times before 2016 when he was running. And when he ran, it didn't do none of everybody who was reporting on the news that Trump will be a danger. He contrary, like, helped the country. But they're always going to come out here and complain that the media, can you imagine? They're saying like the media is unfair to Kamala Harris in this election. And I think the reason why she's even tied in the polls is because the media is carrying her. The media is the one that is carrying her. Because if the media were to hold her feet on fire, she won't be here. We'll see on the polls. This is a landslide election, a landslide. She's the most unqualified candidate the Democrat have ever put to the top of the ticket. Everybody can see, everybody knows it. But they're trying to pretend like she's a generational inspiration and leader that has done a lot of work, that's intelligent, eloquent. That's not the case. That's definitely not the case. But they're going to come out here and complain, go after Anderson Cooper's head. It's crazy.
I'm not, look, I'm a huge fan of yours. Okay. But to say that we're sitting around discussing is Kamala Harris black, like,
I've seen that. I've seen those
that's
roundtable
definitely
discussions
on.
a lot. Now,
That's
that's
true.
bullshit, Anderson. For you to say that y'all don't have those conversations.
I've never asked somebody is.
I'm not saying
Kamala
you.
Harris
I said
black?
the
Not you.
network.
He said the network. He
I
did
don't
say
think
the
anyone
network.
I don't think any anchor on this network has been going around saying, is she black?
Y'all have never
It's
had
definitely
we have
been.
had, look, I'm sure we have had, nutty people or people who have strongly held beliefs who I may disagree with, who
Yeah.
somewhere on some panel have said something, but
Yeah.
I will just
But
speak
even-
up for what I do on the show. I do believe it's important to get people different viewpoints as long as they're willing to have a legitimate conversation. What I
But
don't like are surrogates who come out and just spout talking points that they don't even believe, and those are people I tried to eliminate from having ever on the air again.
I think no network has honest conversations about Donald Trump. Nobody's had honest conversations about Donald Trump since 2016. I saw last night they were talking about, the double standard that exists between Donald Trump and the vice president, but it's always a double standard with Trump, whether it's with Hillary, whether it's, against Biden, now with Kamala. We talk about him being a threat to democracy, but we don't treat him like one.
The double standard, I will agree the double standard exists in the media when they do have 97% negative coverage of Trump and 95% positive coverage for Kamala Harris, talking about double standard. Anything negative about Kamala Harris is suppressed. Everything about Trump, negative or positive, is going to turn into the negative. Yes, that's a double standard that exists, but they're hypocrite. The reason why they're coming after Anderson Cooper, I think they know they're losing, and they got to find an excuse. And they're going to blame black men, and they're going to blame the media, they're going to blame everybody but the unqualified and uninspirational candidate they put on the top of the ticket. That's what it comes up to.
I don't know what you've been watching, but I don't know of any Trump supporters out there or people who like him who are tuning in to me every night to try to get, to be validated in their opinions. I don't know. I don't know. I disagree.
I don't think it's about validating. What do you mean, validating the Trump?
Well, you're saying that we're not. That I guess you're saying I'm not discussing all the things he is saying and doing and pointing it out and talking to, what John Kelly. I mean, this has been discussed. There's nobody. Let me just say, there is nobody on the planet who has not heard and seen pretty much everything Donald Trump has said and knows.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
When the vice whether they believe it or not, whether they care or not.
When the vice president said that to you last night, she said, "I don't think enough people know." I 100% believe enough people have not heard his rhetoric. What do you think, Angela?
I was just about to say, can y'all tag me in? I'm never doing this remote with y'all ever again.
Angela, yes. It's the problem of being on satellite. Yes,
I
talk,
know,
please,
it is the problem. No, I was just going to say, I think what you're saying is fair, that there have been roundtable discussions where y'all raised this. I think the problem is it would be nice for, you to cut to camera and say, I'm looking right here, right now. Y'all, Kamala Harris is a black woman.
Right,
Let's move.
Why would he do that? That's not his job. If Kamala Harris is black, she should provide the evidence. Let's see her uncle and that family or cousins, all those people. So you want Anderson Cooper to play on your bid to cover for you, lie to the American people when that's not true? You see? So the main reason is why the media is not supporting Kamala Harris enough. They're not too left enough. They're not too liberal enough. They're not too, I don't know. It's crazy to demand that on national television. They don't even want to hide it. It's in plain sight. Why Anderson Cooper has to say and affirm that Kamala Harris is black? What is the role of the campaign? What is the role of the candidate herself? She should reassure people that she's black, providing evidence. We know that her mom is from the Indian heritage. Dad, they only say is Jamaican, has to tell people that every Jamaican in the world are black. That's not true. So we're living in an alternate reality here. Anderson Cooper doesn't have to do that. He has to be fair as a journalist. He's not a pundit. But the left don't like it. They don't like it.
right along.
Yeah,
But
yes.
but I was gonna say to your colleague's credit, Jake, right after the town hall yesterday, he said that you all had the opportunity to critique what Kamala Harris' policy proposals were, what her positions were, what her recommendations were, whether or not she answered a question fair enough, because ta-da, she's the only one that showed up for the town hall. It was supposed to be a debate. He said that. I think that the point is we don't hear those things enough, and it has been a threat. We cannot say, oh, Kamala is going on with Joe Rogan, or no, I'm sorry, Donald Trump is going on with Joe Rogan, but Kamala's choosing Club Shay Shay. Debate it. Like it's like, what is he going to say when he goes on?
Here's
Joe Rogan?
here's what I've been
Yeah, yeah.
saying. I'm not a pundit. I'm not interested. I don't think my opinion is particularly interesting for viewers out there. I'm interested in
I disagree.
Well, okay, you can quibble with it.
I disagree with that
Okay,
too,
you can quibble
Anderson.
with it. But I believe in asking questions and probing people's arguments and trying to reveal people's arguments, what's true and what's not. And I'm not on MSNBC for a reason. I'm not on some other network for a reason. I'm on CNN because I want to talk to Republicans. I want to talk to Democrats. And I want to learn from them. I don't think I have the answers. I'm willing to change my mind. People can convince me of stuff all the time. I'm not I don't even know why I'm talking about myself. I don't even know what I'm talking about myself.
No, but Anderson,
But my point
I want
is,
to tell you this.
I think what we're doing here is important because
It
I
is
do
so
think in this
important.
country where, you know what, I got so many, I don't look at comments about myself, but I was looking up some comments about my grief podcast, and I came across this whole inundation from people who are Harris supporters saying to me online today, like, how dare you, what a betrayal that you would ask her these questions.
No,
And
this
I'm
is
like,
your job.
you misunderstand what my job is. I'm not on MSNBC, and no disrespect, what they do is, they're very talented. But I don't watch it. I'm not interested in watching what these overpaid blow-dried anchors think. And I include myself in that overpaid blow-dried, although I don't blow-dry. I am overpaid. But I'm not interested in the anchor's opinion. I'm interested in facts and letting the viewers make up their own mind. So anyway, I'm sorry this devolved into something else, but this is
I like
fascinating.
that you said that, but I will just say in this moment, some of what we're talking about tonight, Anderson, is not actually an opinion at all. It is just the facts. And you are one of the most trusted voices on television. And it is important in those moments where those conversations devolve into nonsense, particularly on the other side of the aisle. They're conspiracy theory. They won't even say her name right. That has to be checked in the moment because that is what fascism looks like. That is how we start sliding down a very slippery slope, and we cannot afford to be here. The election is 12 days away, and this should not be even what is on the ballot, but democracy's on the line. That is not a partisan issue. It is the truth. And I think that's what's important for cable news networks in particular to be saying, whether you're on Fox, you're on CNN, or you're on MSNBC.
That's not true. Like, it's wild that Cooper is getting heat for doing that. What journalists are supposed to do: ask tough question. Just because he's not on MSNBC doesn't mean he's required to go easy on Harris or anyone else. Imagine if every journalist operated like a PR team for candidate. We'll be stuck like in an echo chamber, you know? We'll be stuck in the echo chamber where like the hard issues are swept under the rug. That's exactly why Cooper's with CNN and not with MSNBC. Let's face it, the MSNBC is pretty much a DNC media cheerleader, like at every point. You know, look at when the MSNBC interviews certain Democratic figures, it's often a softened approach, with interviews serving more as a platform for talking points than challenging discussions. Harris' recent interview have largely avoided topics that matter to many voters, like inflation and the border. But a Gallup poll recently reported that over 70% of Americans prioritize these economic issues, but how often are they raised on partisan network? It's not like avoiding the elephant in the room. Actually, it is. It is like avoiding the elephant in the room. You know? I mean, in an election as critical as this one, media accountability matters. Cooper not bending to pressure and asking direct questions shouldn't be seen as betrayal, but as a commitment to real journalism. But hey, those are my thoughts. What do you think about this, guys? You know? you should put in a comment and let's discuss.
All of us, that is our responsibility and our patriotic duty.
And now that I know you can literally call bullshit, I want
Literally.
I want to hear it more.